Hi, Virgo Sun and Rising. Welcome to your February 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. And boy, what a month this is going to be. All the planets are direct. So, whether we're talking about the collective and the sense of movement with events in life, I mean, I already feel it. I'm recording this in the second week of January, and a lot of you will be listening in January. So I'm going to call attention to an astrological alignment that is occurring in January that is going to usher in the February energies. But I just wanted to state that your ruler Mercury went direct on the first of the month. But of course, it takes some time for Mercury to come out of its shadow, but Mercury is a very fast-moving planet. And on January 27th, Uranus will go direct in Taurus. So you could say, if you wanted to be exact, that after the 27th of January, all the planets will be direct until April 1st. Now, some astrologers talk about shadow periods, but I'm just talking about the planets themselves being direct. Now, in February, this is really evident. And what I was trying to say is I can already feel this forward movement in terms of news events, and just even within myself, I just feel like I don't have my hands tied. Now, this is very interesting for you as far as the Aquarian energies, because for you, Aquarius rules your sixth house in astrology, and you rule the sixth house in astrology, but in your chart, Aquarius is your sixth house ruler. Now, I want to state that this is a general reading because individual charts will vary, but this will be accurate at least to some degree, even if it is rather general. And the event I want to call attention to in January is on January 20th, because the Sun and Pluto will both enter the sign of Aquarius. Pluto entered Aquarius initially back in March of 2023 and went retrograde. I believe it was like May 1st or 2nd, okay, maybe the first of the month. And then went back into Capricorn. And actually Pluto will go back into Capricorn again. I think it's in September of 2024. And when it goes back into Aquarius in November, it will stay in Aquarius for 20 years straight. So you are going to have Pluto in the sixth house for a long time. So what's so amazing is that this is your house in astrology. It's the house of work, including what type of work are you doing? Are you working? What does your day look like? What does your routine look like? What is your relationship to coworkers, or what does that workspace look like for you? It also can be your health. It's also pets, but we won't talk about that. So when the Sun and Pluto go into Aquarius, into that sixth house, this could have a very transformative effect on your health. That's the other thing, the big thing. And you could be drawn, and I think a lot of Virgo people are drawn to this already, of having a very pure type of diet. I always think of Virgo as vegetarians, vegans. I remember River Phoenix was a vegan, and he was a Virgo. Of course, he also, had a drug problem. So that's one of the little contradictory things sometimes. I don't know about Virgo specifically, but human beings can be kind of weird that way, where they are very obsessed about one area and then they kind of let another area fall by the wayside. But in any case, this can also be a situation that involves, um, definitely look at your health, but don't become obsessed by your health when Pluto's in your sixth house. Because, I mean, worst case scenario, a person who is obsessed with their health can develop some kind of an eating disorder. Yes, we think of anorexia, but also orthorexia. I think a Virgo person might be more prone to orthorexia, which is like obsession over purity of diet. And when Pluto is in your sixth house, you may be required to um, really become more aware of toxins that are in your food, that you're consuming, and maybe lifestyle related too. But sometimes people can go overboard with that. So look at that. So on the 5th of the month, your ruler Mercury goes into this area, and that can involve communicating with in workplace matters. Sometimes maybe it's even back and forth if you're looking for a new job or you're negotiating a salary increase. There could be, with coworkers, some kind of things going on as well. But I would say because Venus is going to be here, maybe mid-month, Venus is going to show up here, so it could have to do with money. But if you're applying to jobs, Mercury can be paperwork and things like that. On the 9th, we have a new moon in Aquarius, so that can be a new job or some kind of new, um, what would you call it? Like an assignment that you have. Maybe it's working for a new, what do you call it? Like department of the company, perhaps, something of that nature. That it could be, this could be a new health regimen. Mercury, by the way, could be like reading up on health books, researching. On the 13th, Mars goes into this sector. So think about it. I mean, just one after the other. It just loaded into this area. Mars can be physical. So maybe you're exercising in addition to diet. Maybe you're having conflicts with coworkers. With the new moon, there could be new developments in the workplace, but who's to say that you're on the winning end of that? Maybe somebody else gets the promotion and you're like, oh, so that's how it is. Okay. And then you're kind of, you're like, it's on now. Maybe it's competitive. Maybe you do get the promotion and other people are competitive with you. On the 16th, Venus goes into Aquarius, so if there are some ruffled feathers, that might soothe them or calm them, so that would be good, wouldn't it? This could bring more money. So if you find out that coworkers are making more money, you might be like, okay, I want what they have. I remember when I was working somewhere and I was discussing how much I was being paid. And I remember saying to someone who, by the way, was a Virgo sun sign, and I said to him, and I'm a Virgo moon sign, and I said to him, because he said something like, "Oh, you're not supposed to talk about how much you make with your coworkers." I said, "Why not?" I said that, you see, sometimes we repeat things because we hear other people say them. But when you really start to analyze certain things, you realize that's bogus. Of course people who own companies don't want the workers talking about how much they make, because then other people would say, "Hey, I'm not getting paid as much as my coworker." That doesn't mean that they don't have the right to talk about how much they're being paid. It's just like the talk of a slave. So, yeah, so something could be coming up with a Venus. Venus rules the seventh house, which can be some kind of like partnership, and there's a harmonious angle to it with Libra, but it also rules the second house in Taurus, which can be strictly money. And that could be what is happening. On the 18th, the sun goes into Pisces, and that for you is your opposite house, and that is the seventh house. And this is the house I was talking about. This is the house that Libra rules, and so you're having these transits now in that area, but you also have transits that have been here, hanging out here for a while. So the sun is here, but you also have Neptune here for probably about 12 years. And this may have wreaked havoc on the relationships of some Virgo people, because there might have been a lot of issues with people that were kind of sketchy. I'm talking about partnerships. Yeah, you could say marriage, like spouses, but it can be even like business partnerships. And so that might have been very difficult if you found out that somebody that you were married to wasn't who you thought they were. That might have been quite traumatic, even, but definitely confusing. And Saturn entered that sector in March, and it has never left since then. It has gone retrograde, during this past 11 months. And actually, when I'm recording this, it's past 10 months. But Saturn in the seventh house has been kind of like bringing more realism to this situation, because with Neptune, sometimes there can be diluted tendencies where a person marries under false pretenses, but it really is their own fault, if you want to call it, if you want to look at it as, blame and being in blame mode. I mean, you don't have to do that, but what I'm saying is that Virgo people tend to be very sensible people. But my observation, when I look at just different people that I know in real life, and just, even celebrities or what have you, is that sometimes people are really, they have a lot of common sense when it comes to things that are concrete. And so for the earth signs, these are things, earth signs in the tarot are the pentacles. So they deal with money, they deal with the body or health, they deal with the job. But when it comes to relationships, that isn't tangible. That isn't something that is rational. That is something that can be quite, you could say irrational if you want, but it's really just that it's a lot less controllable. We can control matter a lot more than we can control. Well, we can't control other people, and it's not right to even want to try. So this is, and also understanding one's emotions. Emotions can be quite irrational. So our longings, what it is that we think that we need in our life on an emotional level, can sometimes be quite, you know, misguided, I would say. On the 23rd, Mercury, your ruler, goes into this house of relationships. And, you know, for anyone, like you had a full moon here back in, when was it? Was it September? Maybe late August or September. And if for some reason you broke off a marriage, or and maybe you didn't like divorce or anything like that, you might be talking to that person again. um Perhaps you're negotiating something. By the way, the seventh house is also legal matters, so it could be something along those lines as well. Saturn in the seventh, though, I just wanted to say, is kind of a reality check. So any relationships that are based on kind of illusion will be really brought before you. There's a saying that I read regarding this transit of Saturn in the seventh, is that if your relationship is on its last legs, this could be the final, the coup de grace. If your relationship is basically sound, this will stabilize it. It might test it, but it will stabilize it. So if you withstand a transit of Saturn the seventh, it might be a little bit rocky during those few years that Saturn is in that sign and in that house, but you will emerge stronger than ever. But like I said, that's only if the relationship is basically strong to begin with. If it's not, there could be a sign that something is going to give eventually. Yeah. So then on the 24th, which is the next day, you have a full moon in your sign. And at the time of full moons, the sun is in that other, in the exact degree of that other sign, that the opposite sign, which would be 5 degrees of Pisces. So again, and coming from that seventh house, so it's opposing your sun in the first from the seventh. So that, what does that mean? What it means is that when you have a full moon in your sign, you may have a realization about your own behavior, how you are showing up. And that can be very important, because if you are having some kind of relationship difficulties, it's easy to kind of like blame another person. But sometimes, and I've even had this myself, where I realized, you know what? I am kind of contributing to the situation. Sometimes we really are blinded to our own part in the dance. Even if another person is really doing the a lot of the bad stuff on an overt level, we still have to see how we are contributing to that. And it can be eye-opening. It can actually help relationships in some cases, but in some cases, this can be like seeing how you are sacrificing yourself for another person, maybe how you're being codependent, and how you need to kind of grow a backbone, grow a spine. So that can speak to your being more independent in relationships, and maybe even leaving a relationship. Usually when it's about leaving a relationship, I think of a full moon or a lunar eclipse in the seventh house, but obviously it can happen at any time. So I just definitely can be a time where you have that aha moment about something in your life, and maybe some kind of ending in your life as a whole. Okay, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a an astrological reading from a Moon and Virgo person, um, definitely check out my offerings. I have a, what do you call it? A package deal, which is my deep dive reading. I have like a few package deals, but one of them is an hour of natal chart analysis, an hour of transits for 2024 for a special price, which is $85.85 US dollars. And I have that plus a full length tarot reading called The Whole Enchilada. I don't remember the exact price of that. But I sell these readings separately because some people just want, natal chart analysis. Some people just want transits. So you can see the savings that you get by getting those readings together, and they really do complement one another. But you can find out more information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.